I'm late. I just had a phone call that was unexpected and I had to take care of it, but now I'm here. I noticed that I got a super chat from Rustavius. Rustavius, thank you for the 0.79 pounds. How's it going in Britain? I understand there is a little bit of government upheaval there. Liz Truss did not manage to survive the salad. That was actually an internet live stream with 40,000 people watching, and it was who's going to survive, Liz Truss's government or a salad? And the salad was decomposing as we spoke, and it turns out that the government did not last until the salad became unedible. So, yes, I'm a little bit late. I apologize for it. But anyway, right. I'm happy that I won a bet today. Well, like there was a friend of mine which was under the impression that I do not understand how YouTube works. I do not understand modern culture. And they came up to me and they said that Ethan Klein is not going to get banned for violating TOS. We're going to get into what he said, but it was a clear TOS violation to the point that if I were to say it, I would also get banned. Not banned, but like a community guideline strike. And I said, no. Listen. Like the way it works is that normally left-leaning people have more leeway on what they can say, and it's more rare that they get banned than right-wingers. But if they do cause a massive controversy, if they happen to appear in the papers, which Ethan Klein did, then they get the community guideline strike. And I had the bet, and I won $10. I wish I could have bet for more, but like, usually, I don't want to rob people of money, because it's not a bet if you know you're right. It's more like an investment. So, and also being the end of the month, I don't really have that much money. Like Google will pay me on Monday, so until then, I'm at the end of my resources. But I wish I had more money because like I like putting bigger bets when I know that I win. So, do you think that divorce is getting to Ethan Klein's head? Hello, Sarah, I missed you. Also, I do not know anything about Ethan's personal life. I follow celebrity gossip, I do agree, but Ethan is not one of these people that I follow. I did not even know that he was in a divorce. I hope that things are going to go well for him. I'm not a mean person. I don't want to issue hate towards people that I don't know over the internet just because it gets clicks. But I gotta say, this is my opinion on what's happening. Ethan Klein is an OG, right? Like if you like him or don't, that doesn't matter. But he used to be on the platform from the beginning, and he made a lot of edgy jokes because in the beginning, it was the era of South Park, the era of Beavis and Butthead. And if you wanted to attract a teenage audience, you would try to be edgy. And this is what Hassan Piker also did. Like Hassan Piker, for those of you who don't know, he used to be the professor. The professor. And he said a lot of misogynistic things. He was trying to teach men how to be a Chad. He was like a dating guru. Can you imagine that? Hassan Piker, the professor. Right? Hold on. I'll put it. No. Like look for this. You may, but don't use Google searching for it. Use DuckDuckGo or another another search engine that doesn't censor. Right? And you look for the professor, and you'll find Hassan Piker giving you life advice. Which, by the way, some of them were really good. You should follow them. I mean, Hassan Piker ended up being a millionaire. But my point is, people were edgy in order to make a name for themselves, right? Because if you want to attract teenagers, like teenagers go for whatever it is, the counterculture. Like whatever the schools tell them to, whatever the parents tell them to, they go for the other thing because they like it. Like when you have a kid and you're teaching him not to curse, the moment he goes outside, he's going to curse. That's what kids do. So if you live in the era of the anti-racism, progressive ideology, equity, inclusion, diversity, if you live in this era, then the counterculture, right, like edgy jokes, is what people are going to gravitate towards. Unfortunately, you have terms of service against that. So a lot of people are trying to put that gray area, to go into the area where they can say something edgy, but at the same time not violate the TOS. The thing is, like, the scrutiny is a lot worse for right-wingers. Like, Steven Crowder has to be a lot more careful with what he says than someone like Hassan Piker, right? But every now and then, the leftist also says something that is so outrageous, like Hassan Piker saying that the United States deserved 9/11, right? Like, he got the community strike for that. Or insulting Mr. Crenshaw, I believe, like Senator Crenshaw, the guy who lost an eye. Like, all of these things, right? Like, because they are used to brushing against the community guidelines, but because they keep brushing and they don't get punished, they keep going more and more until suddenly they do something that is so outrageous that the newspapers write about them, and then they get punished. It's the same with other things that are non-political, like, for example, Twitch thoughts. Like, you look at Twitch girls and they start their ASMR and they do their bathtub streams and whatnot, and then they do something like, they appear into an outfit that is so revealing that they get punished, and they wonder, it's like, why did that happen to me? It's kind of like, I guess, imagine this. Imagine you're a guy and you're in a new country, right? So you're used to following the rules, but one day you start littering. And you litter and you litter and you notice that no one tells you anything, right? So now, because it's more convenient to just throw the trash on the ground rather than throw it in a trash can, you do that all the time, right? And then you take the bus and you don't pay for the ticket. And you notice that because nothing happens to you, you stop paying for bus tickets and you just travel the bus without paying a ticket, right? And it escalates, right? Like, the idea is like, okay, so you don't get punished. And you try doing more and more things until one day, maybe you get in a fight with someone, maybe you get in an altercation, and then you get arrested, and it seems so unfair. It seems so unfair. Like, why did you get arrested? Like, why is even a policeman there? Like, why is society so unfair that, like, you're getting arrested? That's pretty much how it is on the internet, right? By the way, I didn't pay for bus tickets. I gotta say, like, when I was a kid, I think it was like only in the 1st and the 4th grade. I had two bus stations to travel from my home to my school. And I don't think anyone was paying for bus tickets, but it was because, like, the bus was so fucking crowded. Like, when the doors opened, people just bursted out like they were some sort of liquid. And there was no way for the controller to even get in there and see if people have tickets or not. Eventually, they started having more buses, and then the controllers could go in. And then I got caught, and I had to pay fines. And at first, the fines were so small that I told the controller, look, the controller came up to me. I remember this. So I was like, so I was in the bus, right? Not having a ticket. I see the controller. I turned pale. Why do I turn pale? Because my crush was there. All right? Like, the girl that I loved, I had a puppy crush on her. And she was there, and I was like, what on earth will she think? What will she think about me? And then I see that the ticket controller arrests her as well. Because she didn't have a ticket either, right? And then the controller goes, it's like, why don't you pay for the ticket? And I'm like, listen, you moron. Like, first of all, I have traveled without tickets for an entire month. You caught me once. Okay, now, had I paid for the ticket, it would have been a sane business transaction for me. Secondly, if everyone paid their ticket, you would be out of a job. So shut the fuck up, give me a fine, and go about your business. I think I upset him. I don't know if I upset him, because it was like, I told him an interesting proposition. It's like, I didn't lie. I was very honest. Look, if everyone paid their tickets, you would be out of a job. So shut the fuck up. Be glad that I exist. You should encourage people not to pay for tickets. You should congratulate them. Like, every time a person doesn't have a ticket and you give him a fine, you should also thank them for your service. I don't know what country you're in from, dog, but traveling a bus without a ticket isn't a crime punishable by prison. Like, maybe, I don't know, in your authoritarian woke America, they will arrest people, with the Private industrial prison complex will arrest people for not paying tickets. But I guarantee to you, you know what? I'm telling you this. Had I been threatened with imprisonment for traveling without a ticket, I would have bought a fucking ticket. Like, I swear to you. If the punishment for driving, for riding a bus without a ticket would have been a prison fine, I would have yes, absolutely. I did not gaslight the bus driver. How is it gaslighting, Zed, if everything I said is abso-fucking-lutely true? Without people riding the bus without a ticket, the bus driver would not have to hire someone to check people's tickets. So, like, his job wouldn't have been... Hey. I cleaned it up, Johnny. Yeah, literally. I just like the ticket controller was the Johnny, and I told him, clean it up, Johnny. Oh, like it wasn't that I was based. I was so difficult to handle, to be handled by my teachers as well. Like, I remember in school, the first time a teacher gave me an F, and they were so proud about it, you know. And I was really pissed off because I had the 3 other exams that I had to study for. So, like, the 4th exam, I was like, you know what? I'm not studying for this. Fuck it. So the teacher catches me, gives me an F, and starts lecturing me about, you know, like, why you should study more, and, you know, what would your parents think. And I remember, like, telling him something in the lines of, can you please just put me an F and shut the fuck up? Like, it's not your job to moralize me. Like, if I don't understand the subject that you taught me, just put an F and shut the fuck up, sit in your desk and leave me the fuck alone. I said it in a more polite manner, right? Like, without the curse words. But he was very livid, and he went to the principal about it and said, it's like, oh yeah, V is unruly, V doesn't know. And I told the principal, it's like, look, I had 3 other exams, okay? Like, I don't conspire with the rest of the teachers at the teacher office so that you put all of the papers in the same fucking week, right? So I did my fucking best here. Now, if this teacher is upset, well, tough for him, you know, like, maybe next time I'll study if I feel like it. If I don't, I also have the option of taking F's and flunking the class. I don't need this lecturing. I understand, you know, like, I am filled with knowledge and wisdom when it comes for this stuff. Have I broken any laws? No. Have I done anything wrong? No. Don't like it? Call my mom. She will tell you literally what I've been saying here. God. I was such an asshole. I remember, like, I knew how to piss off teachers to the point where they wouldn't be able to say anything in return. Right? And they would still be pissed off. Like, I knew exactly what to say in order to get them outraged, but at the same time, not have any repercussions. Especially at university. Holy shit. Like, at university, I was... I remember when I was skipping school. Like, I had this really nasty math teacher. And after this, we're going to talk about Ethan Klein. But I had, like, this really nasty math teacher. Like, she was... Man, like, if you made a single mistake in her paper, she would give you an F. Like, it was very... You know, I'm not against teachers that are strict, but, like, she was... I can't even call her strict. She was mean. Like, she wanted you to fail. You could see it in her eyes, right? So, I managed to get the grade, which was, like, between failing and not failing. Like, I was literally on the line. If I got another F, I would have failed. Right? So, we had 2 more weeks of school, and she really wanted to fail me. Like, I could smell it. You know, like, every time I walked past her, like, I could smell, you know, the thing that she wanted to fail me. So, she really wanted to get me in front of that blackboard and ask me a question that I didn't know. Like, that was, like, her waking moment every single day. You know, like, she was probably masturbating to this. It's like, yes, one day... Tomorrow, I will get V in front of the blackboard. I will ask him a question. He's not going to know. I will fail the motherfucker. So what did I do? Well, apparently, you could skip school 10 times. Like, the way it worked in Romania is that you had a grade for behavior. Right? So this was like... I don't know if it exists in other countries, but this grade... every time you did something bad, like if you broke something in the class, right? If you got in a fight with another kid, if you skipped school, it would lower your grade for behavior. And if your grade for behavior was lower than 7, you would flunk the class. So, I calculated and I realized that if I skip school exactly during math class, I would be above 8 on behavior. I would not go to 7. And at this way, like, I would not have to put up with her bullshit. So every time, like, before math class, I would just leave the class. And one, like, she actually met me on the hallway, and it's like, V, it's time for class. And I'm like, nah. And she's like, you're skipping school? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, if you skip school, I'll give you an F. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't give me an F if I'm not fucking there. Like, give me an F. I will call the teacher council on you. Yeah, anyway, I did bully my teachers. Got to give some dosh for base V. My god, if I have a kid, I'll teach him all of these things. Like, I will teach my kid the method. You know, like, I don't care if he learns anything from school. I want him to learn the method. It's like, look, the method is, when they start teaching a new subject, like at math class, you know, they start teaching trigonometry or whatever. The first exercises that the teacher tells you are the simple ones. Those are the ones to learn. I want you to raise your hand at those exercises, right? So you can get an A+. Because that's the simple thing. When they go deeper into the lesson and they start putting up other knowledge and they tie things with other things, that's when it gets difficult. You don't want to be asked the question then, right? Because that's hard work. You have to study that. No, like, just learn the first introductory lesson. Raise your hand at the introductory lesson, because that's easy. You know, here's another thing. Talk to the teacher before class. If you talk to the teacher before class, they will think that they have already spoke with you, and they're not going to ask you questions within class, because they're going to ask questions from people that they didn't speak with, right? Like, you need to teach your kid the method. If you have like 4 exams, you know, study for the difficult ones. Leave the easy ones alone. You know, it's like, remember from me, it's not the smart kid is not the one who studies and gets the A+. The smart kid is the one who doesn't study and gets the passing grade. Alright, like that? Anyway. How did you get enough grades to get a passing average for the trimester? Well, as I said, when the you teach the meta. When the introductory lessons were passed, because the teacher didn't even notice that shit, right? Like, because the teacher, they have like 3 or 4 other classes. They have hundreds of students, right? So they might not notice when you do it. The way I did it was, number 1, I cheated during the test. And number 2, whenever there was an introductory lesson, that's when I would raise my hand. And I'll be like, oh, yes, so the introductory. Oh, we just applied the formula. Ha ha. Oh, look, I solved the simple exercise. Ah. That's how I managed to play the meta, yes. Anyway, right, we should talk about, do your homework in lunch. Do your essay in 30 minutes. Yes, the homework in lunch. I used to make other people's homeworks. I told people about this, right? So I would do my homework, and then I would charge people money to do their homework during lunchtime. So I would have like 4 or 5 different notebooks, and I would just copy for all 4 of them. And I was the one doing math. And, you know, like, after I was doing this, other people started copying me, and they did this for history, for Romanian language, for English. But I was the one doing it for math. And one motherfucker decided to do the same business, right? Like, he would undercut me. I don't know how much I was charging, but let's assume that I was charging like $2 and this motherfucker was charging $1. So now all of the people would go to him. So I hired the school bully to bully the shit out of that kid. I was like, look, you go to him and you make him stop that. I will pay you. All right? I will give you a 25% cut of what I make. You go and you get him to stop, but don't link that shit to me. Don't connect that shit to me. You know, if he starts crying about it, call him a conspiracy theorist. I don't give a fuck. Alright, you get him, you shut down his business, you pretend it's COVID, and for his safety, you shut down that business. So the school bully, you know, goes like, flips all of his notebooks, you know, they go like, like, alright. So, he starts complaining. It's like, but why don't you complain about V? It's like, I don't care about V. You know, like, it's not fair. I need to do my homework. Like, the school bully was doing this. I need to do my homework every single fucking day. I work hard for this, and you pull this shit down. It's like, how dare you? It's like, all right. Anyway, right. This was like me in 6th grade, yeah. Look, it's not my fault. I mean, I played by the meta. He could have hired a bigger bully. Like, nothing stopped him from hiring a bigger bully. Okay? Like, if I was him, I would have hired 2 bullies. Oh, he can't pay them making $1 per homework. That's not my fucking problem. Maybe don't undercut me. I knew exactly the average market rates. I mean, look. I had to pay my taxes. It just happens to be the school bully that was the tax man for me, you know? He offered me protection. I was running a legitimate business. I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, everything that I did, he could have done so as well. It's not my fault he didn't hire protection. Like, all he had to do was to hire protection. Why couldn't he play the meta? It was the way the game was always supposed to be played, huh? Like, if you have a business, sometimes you have to deal with this shit. Yeah, you got unruly people coming up to you. Okay, so, oh, shit. There we go. I did pull a big corpo move on the competition, yes. You know, he could have come to me and give me 50%. Like, I would have been fine with that. Like, hey, look, V. I want to expand your franchise. Like, look, I'll give you 50%. You let me do this. And I'll be like, well, you know, I can't do the homework for everyone. So if you manage to, like, get other people and you do their homework and you give me 50%, okay, you know, like... Hope the bullied guy became vengeful. No, because he never connected it to me. Like, I knew exactly how to do it, so he doesn't connect it to me. It's like, rule 101. And if he would have connected it to me, I would have denied everything. I would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're crazy. Get the fuck away. I would never do something like that. I'm a good student. Oh yeah, like cheating as well. Yeah, of course. You know, like, if you happen to be, like, good at something, if, like, for example, I was really good at history, yeah, you paid me and I would sit next to you and I would give you the results, of course. I mean, look, money solves everything. That's how I got friends with the rich kids. You know, like, the rich kids, they were my best friends at history. At other classes, not so much. What if he watches the channel? I don't think he holds a grudge since 6th grade. I mean, it's been a couple of decades. I don't think he holds a grudge anymore. Anyway. Proeminent Jewish YouTuber. I love this. You know, this is something that I don't get about American identity politics. Chat, maybe you can help me. But I would really love the help in this, right? First of all, is H3H3 a proeminent Jewish YouTuber? I mean, he is a proeminent YouTuber, but, like, I didn't even know about his Jewishness before this. Like, it's not something, you know, like, if you have a Jewish kid, and it's like, Daddy, I want to see someone like me on the television. It's like, all right, go to Ethan Klein. You know, like, it's not something. But the reason they do this is due to the fact that there's this very bizarre American take where if you happen to be black, you can say negative things about black people, right? If you happen to be Jewish, you can say negative things about Jewish people. If you happen to be a woman, you can say negative things about women. But, like, I don't get why. Why is this? Like, why is the way things work, right? So, if, for example, you say to an American leftist, the problem in the black community is fatherlessness. This was an article that the New York Times even wrote back in the day when the New York Times was more based. If you say this, they don't know what to do with the statement by itself, okay? Like, if the statement just hovers in the air, they do not know what to say about it. They need to link the statement to the person that said it so that they can check the identity of the person that said it. If a black person says it, especially if a black woman says it, then all of a sudden it's a statement that should be worthy of consideration, right? So if a black woman says this, they'll be like, okay, well, let's look at this, let's analyze this, right? Let's be open-minded. If a white man says it, well, it's a statement of racismus. I mean, it's like, look, why is it your problem? Blah, 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 blah.
And I don't know why, because like it would mean that, for example, women can't be misogynistic. It would mean that, like, for example, Jewish people can't be anti-Semitic. It would mean that black people can't be, racist. But like for some reason, right? It's like you get a pass. You get a pass, and it's so interesting because like whenever you see a woman comedian, I can almost guarantee you. And by the way, like I am willing to be proven wrong on this. There are women comedians that are legit. Like, for example, Pipkin Pipa, Shoe on Head. But, these are like grassroots comedians. Like, they built their audience grounds up. But you also have like these other people which, through diversity hires, they become comedians overnight. And I actually spoke with many comedians about this, and what they told me was that how is it fair to women if, for example, you have a show in Britain where only comedians with decades of experience can go? Like, you have to climb the ladder, you have to grind, you have to build a name for yourself, and only when you're like 10 or 20 years of experience, you can get to that stage, right? So you have a lot of knowledge about how comedy works and how to do your gig. But then recently, because of diversity initiatives, like they would take women and they would put them in that place. And how the fuck is she supposed to compete with people that have decades of experience? And she just started out, right? Like, of course, it's like, like putting a football player that just started off, or a boxing guy that just started off and is doing like a little bit of training at the gym, and you're putting him in a ring with Muhammad Ali, right? So what I noticed is that almost every single, female comedian that stars on Netflix, so I'm not talking about the grassroots ones, but like the corporate ones, they all make jokes about vaginas, they make jokes about being fat or stuff like that. If you are a man and you make those jokes, you get canceled, but if you're a woman and you make those jokes, it's progressive. It's very bizarre. What is a woman? Oh my god, I'm not going to get canceled by answering that. There are no female comedians. This is why I disagree. I mean, Pipkin Pippa is fucking hilarious. And she's not the only one. I know girls in my real life that are funny. Like, they exist. I don't think they're as often as men. I think it wasn't Jordan Peterson. Peter Hitchens, I believe, like, he explained the fact that if you're a man, being funny is a way to attract a significant other. Right? Like, it's a way of behaving in order to attract a significant. Women don't have to do that, right? Like, for them it's an extra if they do it. I mean, it's hard to be funny. It's not something that anyone can do it. I, for example, am not funny. There are people more funny than me, right? It's just like dancing. Like, not everyone can dance. Some people can, some people can't. Like singing. But I don't understand why this is, right? Like, if you say that a person can't be funny, that's like an insult. But if you say a person can't sing, that, like, okay. Like, not everyone has to do it, It's like, not everyone has to sing. Not everyone has to dance. Not everyone, like, but anyway, right. So, moving forward. Oh yeah, jokes about queefing. Ethan needs to be bad and have his channel deleted immediately. His words threaten us all. Well, I guess, like, this is the modern culture, right? Like, if someone says something remotely edgy, then the only possible solution is to ban them forever. Right? Like, you protect. This is literally the Nazi way of burning books. It's like, these books are dangerous. There is no way we can criticize these books. There is no way we can create a counter-argument to these books. So we then need to protect the people from these books, making sure they never get read. I can't dance, man. I can't dance. I'm fat. I'm sorry. So a prominent Jewish YouTuber, Ethan Klein, makes Holocaust jokes about Ben Shapiro, which led to his suspension. I don't know what the jokes are. We're going to see in a bit. Popular Jewish YouTube personality, Ethan Klein, was suspended from the platform for a week after he made a Holocaust joke about a prominent right-wing Jewish pundit, Ben Shapiro, escalating a war of words between the two large internet political factions over what constitutes anti-Semitic statements between Jews. I love this, right? It's like, so if you're a Jew, according to this, or like if you have the identity, then you can make more jokes about it. But if you don't have the identity, then you can't make any jokes about it. Like that is such a bizarre thing. I gotta say it's very American. Like you don't have this in Europe. Like in Europe, there are either things you're not supposed to say or things you are supposed to say. Your identity doesn't fucking matter. Like this is an American culture. It's like, no, you need to have like, for example, here, if it's something that you're not supposed to say about women, even if you're a woman and you say that same thing, it's still considered uncivilized, right? Like even if a woman were to have like incredibly misogynistic takes about other women, like people would be like, oh, really? Like you, like men and women are treated the same, and even people between ethnicities are treated the same. Like that, there's no like, oh yes, well you get a pass because you're this particular ethnicity or you're this particular gender. So anyway, Klein, whose YouTube channel, H3H3 Production, has more than 6 million subscribers. 6 million? What? Why do you choose this particular? He's got more than 6 million subscribers. Why this like, why not just say he's got 7 million? Why did you choose? Who wrote this article? Andrew Lapin. Why did you not provide the actual number? Why do you have to? What do you have to? What are you implying, Andrew? Why are you saying? Andrew! Andrew! Are you Jewish as well? Are you allowed to make these references? Holy shit, Andrew. Jesus. Look, I get that H3H3 has got suspended, but come on, Andrew. Come on. Don't bring more. Don't bring more dog whistles into the conversation. It's like, interesting choice of words, Andrew. How many subscribers? You know, like, and when you talk about Ben Shapiro, do you say Ben Shapiro's channel has under 6 million viewers? Is this, I'm just, I see what you're doing. I'm on to you. I'm on to you, Andrew. You know, like, I might run a right-wing channel, but I draw a line at blatant anti-Semitism and dog whistles, Andrew. I will not have your dog whistles here. So, apparently, H3H3 said that if there is another Holocaust and people start rounding up Jews again, I hope Ben gets gassed first or last. He added, I'm getting gassed too. Do you think it would be more justice if he got first or last? My fucking god, like this, the absolute bizarre conversations that you get in the American political circle. How many times do you guys go up to a beer and this topic comes out? I'm just curious, like, how do I get around my life without having this topic pop up in the conversation? But it's trending on Twitter on a daily fucking basis, and it's usually from left-leaning people that are trending it. Like, they legitimately believe that Ben Shapiro is going to bring the rise of the American Reich or some shit. Right? It's so bizarre, isn't it? It's like, why do you keep talking about something that no one else is talking about besides your political ideology? Like, you would think if Ben Shapiro wanted to bring up the right, like, he would be the one talking about it and bringing it up. And you'd have clips of it, and you'd be like, oh, whoa. It's super edgy. That's why they're doing it. It's edgy as fuck, isn't it? But it's not 2016. You can't have edgy jokes in 2022. Jesus is king. Yes, like, this is what Ethan Klein should do. Of course, I don't think... Well, actually, he can't do it because he's not a Christian, right? But, like, imagine this. Like, Ethan Klein, your comments on Ben Shapiro were very anti-Semitic. How do you feel about it? And he would have responded with, Jesus is king. Like, how do you think people would react? You know, like, all of a sudden, the name H3H3 would make sense. It would be like, Jesus is king. How many strikes does he have? I think it's 1 because they expire after 3 months. No, like, for those of you who don't understand, Jesus is king is like what you should respond every single time when a journalist asks you something. Because, like, either, like, the thing is, like, if they're asking you for something, it means that you're trolling them, right? So you respond with something and you're taking the piss. But if they get upset that you said Jesus is king, then you're going to get the Christians on your side. Like, you're going to get the Christian base, as small as it is. But you're going to get them on your side, because they're going to be like, what? So, like, the only reason you're going after this guy is because he said Jesus is king? Well, you know, what does your advertisers think about this? I despise Ethan, but he should never have been suspended. Look, in a perfect world, I do agree. Like, if I would create my perfect society, you would not get suspended for anything that is legal speech, right? So if you can say it in the street, if you can say it at a pub, if you can say it in the streets, and it is legal, you should be able to say it online. Now, if people think that something is incredibly dangerous to say, if people think that certain opinions are incredibly dangerous to have, then surely you can pass it into legislation. Like, if an overwhelming number of people would think that free speech is dangerous, they would create a new amendment and they would repeal the First Amendment. They would repeal the First Amendment. Or they would create an amendment to the First Amendment and say that, well, in case of speech that targets identity and protective groups and blah, blah, blah. Like, they could do that, right? But we do not live in that society. We live in a society of trust and safety. And as long as we live in a society of trust and safety, I believe, more than everything, that rules should be applied equally. Like, if you have a rule, even if I disagree with the rule, I think it's a horrible rule. No, like, it should be applied equally. If it can be applied to me, it should be applied to others until the rule is taken away. Why do I think like this? I think like this because when other people notice that the rule is unfair, they will join hands and they will abolish the rule. But as long as you have a group of people that benefit from the system, why would they try to change the system? It benefits them. Like, if I was a comedian and I could say everything I wanted, but my competition can't make any type of edgy jokes, why would I ever want to change the system? It benefits me. I'm making money out of it. I'm getting fame. I'm getting publicity. I'm getting everything. Why would I care about what other people who are my competition have to deal with? Ethan Klein got a strike because he tried to dox Amaranth's husband, but got the wrong guy. Check the video. Olivia doxed wrong guy, and H3 fans attacked him. Well, first of all, doxing is against the terms of service on YouTube. And secondly, look, I understand if... And by the way, like, this is my opinion on doxing, right? I'm not condoning it or anything, like... Because it's a word which means different things. Like, in the beginning, 2016, doxing meant that you gave someone's bank account, someone's credit card, and this is due to the fact that in 2016 you had the great book of doxing, which was called the phone book. So you could grab the phone book, you looked at someone's name, and you had their address. Like, that was how things used to be when I was a kid, so I guess I grew up in a different culture. Like, finding someone's address and phone number, you just had to go through the yellow pages, and you'd find out their entire address and phone number, right? So that wasn't doxing. Doxing was when you actually tried to get someone's credit card, bank information, social security. Like, that was doxing, right? But anyway, now it's different. Now it's just like showing the picture of a guy that wants to be anonymous. But the thing is, like, if there is a story to tell, and this is true for, like, journalistic investigation. Like, let's say you have a person claiming they're someone they are not. Like, for example, you have, I don't know, a person claiming they're a lawyer, and they're getting money from clients on the internet, and it's a scam. And you have to expose that. Then, yeah, sure, you're going to have to provide who the person is, and you're going to show how you can, why you think that they're not a lawyer. So, I don't consider that doxing if it's public information. Like, if it's public knowledge. But with that said, if you're going to try to do that and you get the wrong person, I mean, you have to pay, right? Like, if you do it, make sure that your investigation is clean. Don't try to do an investigation that ends up being botched, because then you can't even get sued. So yes, apparently, Klein was discussing Shapiro's initial reaction to rapper Kanye West's recent comments vowing to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Shapiro said West's comments were clearly anti-Semitic and disturbing, but he simultaneously celebrated West's move towards pro-life, faith, and family conservatism. This is something that the left doesn't fucking understand, I swear to God. Like, this is something that is a deep problem within leftist thought in America right now. And this is why, if you look at Americans in campuses and whatnot, like recently I saw a statue of Thor from Marvel being built in a university and everyone was celebrating. And I found that to be deeply concerning. Why? Because Thor is a fictional character. So, they expect people to become like fictional characters. What do I mean by this? I mean that every single person, has positive aspects and negative aspects. Positive takes and negative takes. You will not find a person that is pure to the point where their statue is not going to be demolished by a mob of angry leftists. And they understand that to the point where they can't have human models anymore, like human figures. Like, it's true that Kanye West is anti-Semitic, but it's also true that some of his other takes may be good. I mean, if Kanye West is for family conservatism, we can look at that, we can separate that from everything else he says, and we can just analyze that thing. Is family conservatism a good thing or a bad thing? The same with Hitler. Like, Hitler was an environmentalist, right? Now, you can look at that, and he was like for, I think like some of the first animal rights laws were passed in Germany. Now, Hitler created the Holocaust, is responsible for World War II, right? Clearly a bad person. But you can look at those particular takes, and you can analyze them, like you can separate them from everything else, and you can just look at those particular takes, and you can make up a decision based on them. But like the left can't fucking do that. They literally cannot do that. You know, it's about like the moment a person has something wrong or a bad take, you should discard the whole person. Like, imagine this, you know, you have a dish. And it's very delicious. There's like a little bit of the dish that you don't like. You know, like let's say you have steak with mashed potatoes and you have a salad. But you don't like the salad. You know, like maybe the salad has a little bit too much lemon on it. Maybe the dressing doesn't taste well, right? That doesn't mean you throw the whole dish. You just don't eat the salad, right? So you put the salad away, but like if the steak is good, you eat the steak, you eat the mashed potatoes. And that's how normal people act. They're like, oh, well, this is tainted. You know, throw it away. Hitler was also a vegetarian. I don't know about that, but I think it was more because of a health issue rather than like him not wanting to eat the animals. I might be wrong, but correct me. I don't think it was like a vegetarian born of ideology. It was more like a vegetarian. Sorry about that. More like a vegetarian born out of the dietary requirements which he needed to have. Stop making the left sounds based. I don't think. Again, like, dude, even if they were based on a particular take, that doesn't make them based on a whole. Like, destroying the concept of a meritocracy. Like, clearly, that's not a good thing. You know, it's a good thing when you do it for, like, random shit, but, like, when you do it for, like, who gets to fly airplanes, and you're a person in the seat of the airplane, you want to know that you have the best competent pilot for the job. You don't want, like, the pilot to be hired based on nepotism or arbitrary characteristics or anything like that. No, you want the best pilot for the job to fly your fucking airplane. So yes, like, the left can have base things. Like, obviously, if you actually look at left-leaning thought, they recognize many problems that society has. And I agree with them. Right? But like at the same time, when you look at the solutions they come up with, they're absolutely horrible solutions. So anyway, Shapiro is an Orthodox Jew and a former editor of right-wing news Breitbart and the Daily Wire, who endorsed Donald Trump for president in 2020. He frequently invokes Israel and Judaism in his articles, books, and videos while decrying Democrats and woke culture, and recently visited Israel on a speaking tour. Shapiro has more than 5 million subscribers, and on his YouTube channel, he's got 4.5 million. Since Shapiro first tweeted about West's comments, the rapper, he has said that being targeted by a Jewish undergrounded media mafia, while also apologizing to the people that I hurt. Shapiro has also more forcefully denounced West's comments, saying on Wednesday that the rapper was spouting der Stürmer type anti-Semitism, and that it is about as ugly as it gets and nobody should be defending that. How is this not a correct take? Like, how is Ben Shapiro wrong? Like, he's saying, okay, well, I disagree, and I think it's dangerous for West to talk about anti-Semitism, but I do agree with his pro-family takes. How is that in any way not something that makes sense? It's like, yeah, you know, like you go out to a restaurant. Yeah, I don't like the salad, but I like the mashed potatoes and I like the steak. And people are like, so you're endorsing the salad. You're endorsing the restaurant serving bad salad. It's like, dude, are you insane? Like, that's not what he said. Why do you love me, Runaway Susie? Susie, do you want to run away together? Is this a thing you're into? Holy shit. Give me a second. I needed to check something. Ben is a neocon grifter. The same thing applies to Ben Shapiro, right? Like, just because Ben Shapiro has takes you don't like, that doesn't mean he can't have takes that you like. What you need to do as a human, as an independent person, look around you and take from the people the positive aspects that they have, right? Does Ben Shapiro have positive traits? Yes, take those. Does he have negative traits? Push those away, right? Like, don't be like those negative traits. Don't emulate those negative traits. But like, take the positive ones. Does Hassan Piker have positive traits? Yes, he's very good at conning people and getting money, so he has a 4 million mansion. Okay, take that. Take that part, you know? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you should look at other people and try to copy the best aspects of them, right? Try to copy what they say, which makes sense and is true, and discard the things that aren't true. Like, for example, what is the name of Pocahontas? I keep forgetting. Like, why is her nickname sticking into my brain? Elizabeth Warren. So, with Elizabeth Warren, right? I disagree with most of her takes. But she did say that a turning point in American culture was when one person couldn't bring enough money in the household to support 2 people. How is that false? Does that make Elizabeth Warren based? No, it means that Elizabeth Warren has understood one point that many economists have failed to understand. And it means that this is a good argument. I can now use that argument, okay? I'm not a left-leaning person as Elizabeth Warren, but the argument itself is sound and true. I can use it to other people and point out that, look, can we discuss about why America has became from a country that could have one person with one income support a household and now it can't? Can we have that conversation, right? So you use that. Yes, Ben Shapiro is good at debating. Look at when Ben Shapiro debates someone. Notice his tactics. Try to copy those, right? Like, you don't like try to copy a person. You can't even be another person. Like, if you want to be like your favorite person, I don't know who that is, but like if you try to emulate your favorite character, you will not be able to do that, right? Because you're not that person. But what you can do is you look at people around you and you see what they do that is good and what they say that is true. And you copy those aspects. You copy that. And if you do that, you improve yourself as a person. You manage to be a better person. You look at their flaws. You know, like, what did Ethan Klein do? Like, I'm looking at Ethan Klein. What did he do which is wrong? He crossed the line, right? Like, he kept on pushing and eventually he crossed the line. what do I understand? I shouldn't cross the line. Right? Like that's what I take from Ethan Klein. Like Ethan Klein, for me, is an opportunity to grow. I look at what he is doing, and I'm trying not to do it. Like, for example, he had the speech. I don't know if this is what other people told me, so I don't know if it's true or not. Take it with a massive grain of salt. But he had the speech where he's having problems making love with his wife because of the antidepressants he's on, right? So, what do I take from this? Stay the fuck away from antidepressants. You know, like that's what I think. So, I don't look at a person like what they say is something that's the gospel, or that I should try to become like them. You know, I just look at the things that are positively true. So I think that when you have this mindset, you're not going to become a little drone. Where you're like, oh, this man bad, this man good, this man bad. And then you cancel this guy, cancel that guy. 1 hour of V ranting. Welcome to my stream, Simon. Berserk is better than Chainsaw Man. I haven't seen Chainsaw Man, but I have heard everyone talking about them. How can you copy being a smartass? Yes. Stop giving good practical advice. I thought that this is not even like an advice that you need to take from other people. I thought that this is just something that is so painfully obvious to everyone. That's not populating the earth with hate. Oh, I see. I mean, if you become a suck up to the woke stuff, sometimes it's hard to come back from. Well, the thing with the woke stuff, it's all about control, right? Like, they want to condition people into hating whomever the ones, because like if you look at woke ideology, right, like they have little cells. Like there are like the people in a campus, like the students at a campus, and they're part of that particular group. And you have like a Discord server that's part of that particular group. But like usually there's someone at the top. It's very hierarchical. Like they claim that they're for equality and whatnot, but like it is hierarchical, right? Like the woke gamers in 2016, Anita Sarkeesian was giving the marching orders. So what they want to do is to condition people on what to hate at any given notice, right? So like, for example, now you need to hate anti-vaxxers. Like, they're the ones destroying society. And you guys remember 2 years ago what was on social media, and, you know, like how they would attack people that had like even an opinion against mandates, right? So you'd be like, look, I vaccinated myself. I got like 3 doses. I'm old, but like I don't think the government should force other people. Oh my fucking god! Like, cancel him, right? Who else they got to hate? Ukraine. Ukraine is a perfect example, right? Like all of a sudden, like Ukraine, the far, which is, by the way, like Ukrainian culture is incredibly right wing because it's Eastern European, and now that they have a war in their country, they're even more nationalistic than most other Eastern European states, right? But all the leftists that 1 day ago they were talking about hating cisgender straight right wing men, they're now like putting their Ukraine flags. Like it's so easy. It's like flipping a switch. Like, I'm not saying, and by the way, I support Ukraine, I just want to mention it because I think it carries a little bit more weight. Like, I shouldn't be complaining about this shit. Right? Because, like, oh, more support. That's fine. But the problem is, it's like, I find it difficult to believe how a person can one day talk against, you know, straight, cisgender, white, right-wing men with such fervor and religiosity about how much they don't like it, and then literally the next day, like, tick, flips a switch, and all of a sudden they have the flags, and it's just like, what the fuck? How do you do that? How do you do that? I don't understand how you can do it. We got 10 more minutes. Anyway, what can we talk about? We can talk about the fact that I have mice in my house fucking again. And this time, I don't know where the fuck they are. Like, I hear them in the walls. I hope they're not that many. They're such a fucking problem. You know why I hate having mice in my house? Because they're abso-fucking-lutely adorable. Like, you look at that little mouse, and it looks at you, and it's so cute. Like, it's beyond adorable. However, it's also a hazard. Like, they can start fires and shit. They chew through the insulation. They can chew through the electrical wires. You can't allow them to multiplicate in your house. They're in my walls, literally. Maybe alongside with Pipkin Pippa. Getting more cats wouldn't work because they're in the walls, okay? Like my cat, as much as she would probably like to hunt mice, she can't get into the wall. So if I somehow find a way to get the cat in the wall, yeah, maybe I can help that out. But like, it is what it is. Again, like the same question, Tentacle Pentacle. I don't understand why people ask it. It's so fucking bizarre, right? Like, oh, you have a cat. How do you have mine? Because they're in the fucking wall, man. My cat doesn't go into the wall. I don't know what type of cat you have. Like, maybe you can genetically breed one to have the ability to wall clip. I can't get mine to do that. Rat poison is probably what I'm going to do. Oh yeah, get a ferret. But then I would have a ferret problem now, wouldn't I? Get a badger? But then I would have a badger problem. I don't want anything in my walls. I literally don't want anything in my walls. Yes, I will probably get some rat poison or something. Do you know that they're actually that smart that they stay away from the poison? A cat gives off scent that scares the mice away. Yes, Simone. And do you believe that the scent of my cat is powerful enough to go through the fucking walls, Simone? Do you think the cat scent goes through the fucking walls? Do you think if my cat had the scent powerful enough to go through the walls, I would still own a cat? In the winter, they will freeze. I don't know if that is correct, because it's already -3 degrees now. I think that's why they actually get into the house, for the warmth, because it's very cold outside, so... Yeah, it's the winter coming and the rodent seeking warmth. That's literally it. What sort of filthy casual cat owner doesn't teach their cat the no clip? Ah, I see. Naruhodo. Mustard gas. You know what? That would work. But unfortunately, I would have to find a way just to put it in the walls. Mouse traps, yes. Probably. I don't know. I haven't figured the problem. The problem is, like, I can't put the mouse traps in the walls. Like, this is what people don't understand. I don't have access to what's between the walls. Like, I wish I did, but I don't. So, once I find a way to figure out where they're coming from, like if maybe in the attic or something like that, like once I will find the place where the mice are, then I may actually try and fix the problem. But until that point, I don't know how they get in. I don't know once they get in, what the fuck they do. All I know is that they're in the walls because I can hear them. That's the only amount of information that I have. Mamma Mia V, not that hard to catch mice. I don't think you're understanding me, Simone. I'm not saying that they're not hard to catch. I'm saying I don't know where the fuck they are. I mean, I know where the fuck they are, but I don't know how to reach them. They're not in the house. Okay? Like, they're not inside the actual living space of the house. They're not outside either. It's somewhere in between. They're stuck in fucking limbo. They always get out of the walls. Well, if I see them, I will know how to deal with them. Put a box next to a high bucket so it can climb. Put a Where do I put the fucking box, Chris? Where do I put the fucking box? I don't know where the hole is. I don't know how they get in, Chris. I don't know where they get out, if they get out. Do you want me to put the box inside the fucking wall? God. You need to bait the trap so that the mice come out. I don't think they're coming out in the house yet. What I think is happening is that outside of the house, they have found a way to make a hole which takes them inside the wall of the house. So they're traveling inside the wall. I don't know if they're coming out in the house. I don't know if they're coming out in the attic. What I do know is that I can hear them inside the wall. V is going to use poison and his cat is going to die. Surprisingly, cats are very good at telling what not to eat, what is dangerous to eat. And on top of that, I can just put the poison where the cat doesn't have access to. Outside and inside, they will find it if it's peanut butter. I see. Play Tim Pool music. Why don't you put Tim Pool music in your game, Roman? I mean, Tim Pool is famous for creating Subverse. So, you know, maybe he's okay with that. Just ask him. It's like, hey, Tim Pool, can I put music in my game? Once a mouse climbed into my apartment through the water pipes, went into the washing machine, through the hose connection to the pipe, and then electrocuted itself on the PCB. Jesus fucking Christ. You have insulation outside the house, so it's ruined. Or you may be lucky. Yeah, probably. Hire a pesticide guy. I mean, eventually I might. But I'm trying not to get to that point. I'm trying not to get to the point where and you know what really pisses me off? I will end the stream with this. Okay, so we're getting to the close end of the stream. Another rant incoming. What really pisses me off? We had a cat in the neighborhood. And the cat was pounding more cats. It was doing a service to the community. Right? The idea is that that cat and its kittens was able to apprehend the mice before they got into the walls. So it was good. But then a crazy veterinarian moved over and she wanted to castrate the cat. She wanted to spade. She had this obsession with spade. She spayed the cat. Why? Why did you? Oh, because like all the kittens, like some of them were getting run over by cars and it's so horrible. And I'm like, it's the natural way of things. It's the natural way of... Why do you think the cat makes 8 kittens? Because she knows not some of them aren't going to make it. Leave the cat the fuck alone. Leave him alone. Why do you think the mice made 12 babies? For the same fucking reason. Allow the ecosystem to thrive and flourish, for the love of God. But it is what it is. No, seriously, like they have this obsession in Romania with castrating stray cats. I'm like, why though? Like, do you go into birds' nests and take away their eggs and slam them into the ground? Because like, oh, well, you know, all these birds, they end up dying. Some of them are caught by cats and others, they might eat the poison on a field. And, you know, it's not safe to be a bird. So let's make sure that birds can't lay eggs. It's like, it's the same mentality. Yeah, kittens can't get killed if they're not even born. Literally the logic. Now force them to castrate all the mice. Unironically, I did say that. Unironically, I did say that on the WhatsApp group for my neighborhood. It's like they castrated the cat. And I'm like, okay, so when are they going to castrate the mice as well? That's not normal to do. No. If you have a mouse problem in a neighborhood and you have stray cats, leave the cats alone. Leave them alone. They're helping with the problem. Like, look, I get if you castrate stray dogs, okay? Because stray dogs are actually dangerous. Like, they can bite someone. Like, you don't want dogs. When does a cat hurt anyone? It doesn't hurt anyone. Leave it the fuck alone. It even buries its shit. You don't have to see it. Just, God. In Australia, they hunted cats for money. In Australia, you have a cat problem. Okay, in Australia, I fucking understand. So, the feral cats in Australia have actually mutated, and they're now like space marine cats. Like, I've seen feral cats in Australia that look like the size of a leopard. And they actually endanger the ecosystem. So in Australia, I fucking understand why the government thinks that the cat is a problem. I get that. But we're talking about Europe here. Well, if you're allergic to cats, I would understand that. Like, no, seriously, if I had a neighbor which told me that they're allergic to cats and they have a problem with it, I would understand. I'd be like, okay, fine, I can see why you're pissed off. But like, if no one has that here. However, feral cats are a major problem for the natural ecosystem. They're not a problem. Like, first of all, I want them to be a problem for the natural ecosystem in my neighborhood. Yes, like I want them to eliminate the rat population and the mice population. Like, this is why I want to have cats. I want them to be an ecological problem in my neighborhood. Yes. Like, literally, Chad, yes. Adeptus felinus is what I want in my neighborhood. Like, I want... And by the way, the little birds that are making noise when I wake up, I want the cat to solve the bird problem as well. Like, yeah, literally, Chad. Cat supremacy in my neighborhood. God. Yeah, maybe like, yes, and... That's literally why human grew cats. That's a cat whistle. Anyway, right. I need to go make videos for my other channels now. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the rants and you like the stream. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.